Hello and welcome. Today I'm adding battle cars from the Namco Museum Collection 1 for the Evercade to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. Battle Cars was originally released in 1993. It's a Mode 7 racer set in a sort of post-apocalyptic looking intergalactic sci-fi setting. Don't think about the setting too hard, just go with the vibe really, I think is what it's about. And as the title suggests, it's not just about racing, it's about battling those battle cars in a battle race to the battling death to the battling end. I'll stop now. It's a game that I wasn't familiar with before getting the Evercade. I think maybe I might have seen a picture of it in a magazine at some point, but I don't think it got a PAL release back. Anyway, I've certainly never played it. So there's no nostalgia here, but it is absolutely the sort of game that I would have picked up for my Super Nintendo back in the day. Anyway, let's break it down, and first of all I'll talk about the
graphics.
I think it's pretty good here. While not among the very best looking Mode 7 races on the Super Nintendo, the cars look good, the presentation is absolutely solid, the background environments look quite nice, and the track looks alright. While the tracks aren't heavily detailed, they do certainly move fast, particularly once you get your vehicle upgraded. So overall, yeah, I'd say it's pretty solid graphically.
Sound and music.
The sound effects are decent. I wouldn't say they're amazing or a real standout, but they're certainly more than functional and they suit the vibe of the game. But I can't bring anything specific sound-wise to mind. It just didn't leave that much of an impression, either good or bad. Which I guess goes to say that the sound works fine. The music, however, I think is pretty good. The soundtrack, I believe, is by David Whittaker, who also did music for Shadow of the Beast on the Amiga, and some elements of some of the tracks did feel quite familiar. Although I wouldn't call it a standout soundtrack like that is, it very much suits the mood. It's quite fast paced, it suits the sci-fi feel, and is a very Super Nintendo soundtrack with your sampled guitar riffs and synth melodies.
Gameplay.
It's a combat racing game that's pretty straightforward. You select your car of choice, each plays slightly differently. They all have the same weapon options, a disc that will ricochet around the track, like the green shells in Mario Kart, a missile which will home in on enemies, and a grenade which works a bit like the bomb in Mario Kart. The gameplay loop is fairly simple. Win races, get cash, upgrade your car and weapons. There are effectively 9 areas or worlds to get through, and each has 2 races. A cross-country race, which is a point-to-point race where you can take out enemies and avoid crashing, but you're mainly against the time, almost outrun style. And then you have your circuit or your battle race, where you're trying to beat a specific rival, which varies from level to level. If you fail to beat your rival, you lose. Although there are other vehicles on the track, they don't matter, just your rival. The actual racing controls do take a bit of getting used to, but if you're familiar enough with things like Mario Kart, it won't take you too long. On the negative side, the tracks aren't particularly varied or unique, and as the game progresses and becomes more difficult, most of the difficulty comes from the increased speed from upgrading and the tightness of the track. There's no water on the edges, there's no jumps, just the walls of the track. On the base difficulty, the last couple of rivals to beat are generally quite challenging. With the final one, I found that it was almost more luck that I survived to the end of the race and beat my opponent. There are a few unlocks in the game, such as other vehicles like your rivals' vehicles, but yeah, overall it's a fairly straightforward game.
Overall opinion.
As I mentioned earlier, this is absolutely the sort of game that I would have bought as a kid when I had a Super Nintendo. It would have been right up my street, and I still have a soft spot for racing combat games. And this is a pretty good one, but at the same time I think there's reasons that it's not a well regarded classic. From what I can tell, back in the day it got reviews in the 7 out of 10 range, which would seem fair, as it's very much one I would consider good but not great. It's flawed but is still enjoyable. So with all that done and said, I suppose I should get on with the
ranking.
So I've decided to place it above Zookeeper, but below Missile Command for the 2600, placing it at 135 out of 394 games that I've ranked so far. Anyway, I think that's enough for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.